Today we're gonna discuss the recent tariff war and the potential influence in China, US, and Germany.
US-China trade conflict is a big news. Every day the news media are discussing this hot topic. For me, it's really important, not only for the politicians but also for the ordinary people, because the trade war will impact our lives. So I think it's necessary to discuss this topic, and I do believe it's a meaningful topic. I think today we can discuss about the root cause of this trade war and the consequence. We can talk about the logic of the Trump administration. Why did the United States launch a trade war against the entire world, especially China? Why? What's the deep logic? What's the logic behind this conflict? And the consequence, okay? So especially from our own personal perspective. We are Chinese, we live in Germany. Of course, we care about China, we care about China's economy and daily life of the Chinese people. As far as I know, China is the largest trading partner of Germany. So we can talk about the influence of the trade war on Germany as well. And we are very lucky, and we have great player that our German friend Bjorn has participated in our discussion. We also can ask his opinion about the trade war and its impacts on both China and Germany.
Okay, so I will also start with some words. First, thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here. Ni hao, to China. I only speak maybe 100 to 200 words Chinese, so we can't change to Chinese, not really. And yes, I lived in China in the past for 2 years and worked the last and add-on I worked the last 2 years, the half of the time also in China. So I have a little bit experience with the daily life in China, and I have a lot of friends in China, and so I was every time curious to learn more about the country, and so I think I'm not a typical foreigner what only know the big cities. I also was in small villages and a lot of factories, and I would like to share maybe some experience from this part. Thank you very much to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm really curious about your past experience in China, and particularly the recent experience in China. And so to start this discussion, I would like to ask you, how do you find the economic situation in China during your trip in March?
Okay. In March I make a motorbike trip from Chongqing to Chengdu and back, a circle tour, and I was the half of the time I was alone, so I have to organize my trip by myself, and of course go to not only to the big cities, also to the small villages. And what can I say? I think I understand now more the economic structure from China, because we every time see the export-orientated industry. So, but I think you have to understand the different spheres from the China economic. And I think the first point is the farmers. So, and you know, the farmers is not the richest person, so but they produce the Lebensmittel, they produce the food for the people, and the price for the food in China in relationship to Germany is really low. So, and I understand, okay, the farmers, the incoming salary for the farmers not so high, but say stable the life cost for the workers in China. So, and then you have a big economic for the internal economic for China. I think I'm not sure about this, but it's a reflection from my side. Maybe if you produce some machines or products for the abroad market, you have one container. I think if you don't show this in money, you show this in the products. For one container outside of Germany, maybe the production high in China is 3 containers or 4. So, of course, maybe sometimes the quality is a little bit lower, the price is lower, but you have a lot of 3-wheel vehicles, a lot of tractors, a lot of farmer things, small electro cars, and this all is inside the economic in China. So this means the export-oriented economic maybe is only, it's not the biggest part. It's very important because the money come into the country, but the size, the production hours in the economic, I think internal is much higher. So this was one of my reflections when I was in China, and I see a lot of every small city and also some villages. You see a lot of factories. Every small city have an area in front of the cities with maybe 100 to 200 or 300 factories. They all produce a lot of things. Yeah, and yeah.
So actually, that was also what we found that China has a lot of production. Like we are the
actually, that was also what we found that
factory
China has a lot of
and
production. We are
how is the
the
consumption?
kind of like the
How is the
factory
consumption in
country.
China? Like when you travel to the
but,
city and they probably
how
go
is
to
the
some
consumption?
malls or restaurants.
How is the consumption in
think of the
China?
consumption
Like when
now.
you travel to the city and they probably go to some malls.
You have a lot of
or
rich people in China, and not only the richest part. Also, if you work in a good company for a salary for I don't know 5 to 10,000 RMB, I think you can have a good life in China, and then you also can buy clothes and can have a consumption, and this is one of the points. But I also saw a lot of people say never can go to a shopping mall and buy some things because the prices are also not so cheap. But maybe it's not only the shopping mall. If you go to the smaller cities, you have also marketplaces, and you have also a lot of consumption here, and the prices is much lower. And I also realized a lot of shopping malls is empty now. Yeah? Or not really a big business. My feeling.
And that's your observation.
Yes, that's my observation.
Because you are doing business between China and Germany, and China is a large trading partner of Germany. How do you think about the impact of the trade war on the German-Chinese economic relationship?
I know this. The trade war really stops the supply chains and the delivered products to America. This is real, and I think a lot of business is very short-time business. So it means they have an order maybe in this month for the next month, and so they don't have an order book for the next 12 months to be safe. They have an order book maybe for 4 weeks, and if you level up the tax, the effect is coming really soon, 4 weeks later. So this is and you know in Chinese, if you are in fabric owner in China, okay, if you have work, okay, you can have a good life, but you also have a lot of costs, and if you can't sell products, okay, I think the reserves is not so big. You will see the influence really shortly, and this is a lot of the risk is a lot of people lose her salary. Maybe not directly unemployed, but I think they lose her salary or a part of her salary, and this is every time a hard situation for the people. And for the other question, a lot of Chinese friends ask me now, can you help us to sell some products in Germany? So it's also the idea, okay, I will have a problem in 4 weeks. Can we fix the problems in the next 4 weeks to deliver some products to Germany? But you know, German is a very hard country because we have a lot of paperwork to do and a lot of standards, blah blah blah, all the things. So I think it's not so easy. I see this, so, and I saw this. And I was a part of this discussion, I told you now, but I think it's difficult. It's really difficult to change from the American market really quickly to the European market. Maybe not so easy.
But do you know any electronics commerce platform like Temu?
Yeah.
So I have just purchased something from Temu. For me, it's really convenient if you want to buy Chinese products on Temu. So, I mean, if the Chinese manufacturer cannot sell their goods to American customers anymore, they can very easily change to Temu platform. So, I mean, it's not very difficult for them to find German customers. I mean, with Temu and Xi'an, because the price of the products on Temu are really much cheaper than Amazon platform. I know Amazon is very popular in Germany, but now more and more people are using Temu as their favorite platform to buy things.
Yeah, I understand this, but I think on the Temu platform, the price structure maybe is a little bit different to Amazon or to walls like MediaMarkt or things like this. So I think maybe it's only a cliche, but I think the people say, okay, the price is low, but also the quality is low. So and if you try to develop to a better price, then you need to create trust into quality and into a long life availability for the products. So, and okay, you can deliver a lot, but what is your profit for these products? Maybe it's not for an iPhone. Maybe Apple can make a profit from 500 to 800 euro for one smartphone, but on Temu maybe you only can make 20 euro or lower. This is
Yeah, I agree. I think German customers are very demanding. There are very strict requirements for German customers, but on the other hand, Temu is more and more popular. Now, there is a problem because it seems that the Chinese manufacturers are losing American market, so they have to change to a European market. They have no choice. I think from European side, the politicians are actually very worrying about the possibility that a lot of Chinese products will come to European market. As far as I know, EU has established one dedicated working group to monitor the status of the trade between China and the EU, because they are very concerned that tremendous amount of Chinese products will come to European market. So I think this is a consequence of the trade war between US and China. Chinese have no choice. They have to find alternative market.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same because I think like several months ago I watched a video that discussed the products on Temu was actually quite low quality, and the I think the German media actually used some of the words like a toxic products that's not in line with the EU standard. So they're trying to limit these products. Coming to EU, and then also another problem that I found out from Temu is that yeah, the product's quality is a huge problem, but I think it's not only about that they only like exported the low quality product. I think it's also about the platform policy. Like the Temu has different type policy with Shein currently. These sellers or these business sellers, they on Temu actually they get really little profit, because before I think at least before last year Temu actually had a price war, like kind of like a price war or price competition against Shein, and so that's why the platform of Temu actually trying to price the price like in a very low range that forced these sellers to just to sell like the low quality products. Then that is I think the platform problem. Then she actually I think last year like not so for so long that announced that Shein will quit from this press war, that Shein will mainly focus on the quality of their products. Shein is trying to build their own brand, and currently Shein is not only a shopping platform, it's actually become a independent brand. So that's what I found. It could be like the possible influence of the current like geopolitical or geoeconomic tension, and then the trade war, that these products from this Chinese platform will not be as cheaper as before, because they're trying to find a solution for how can they exist in Europe. Shein still offers some cheap products, but like they still want to build their own brand. They want to be like a Chinese brand in Europe or Chinese brand in the US, but they don't want to compete with them with just only the low quality products. Also, another problem is that what I heard that now China trying to intensify the economic relation with the global south. Of course, China was also considered as part of the global south. My question is that even though China trying to export these products to global south, but the global south is also trying to build their own industry. Like, for example, not only about this light industry, like this daily groceries, but also the like a EV, like electronic vehicles. I think the global south is also trying to build their own industry. So will this actually create a competition situation for Chinese company in the global south? That's my question.
I agree. I think the relationship between China and the global south countries is quite complicated. Yeah, as you have mentioned, China regards itself as one part of global south. China always claims that China is the biggest developing country in the world, and China is willing to support other developing countries economically and politically. And from economic dimension, China has launched its Belt and Road Initiative. You know, this is a huge infrastructure investment plan from China's side. In 2013, Chinese government has launched this plan, and now more than 12 years have passed. And as far as I know, actually this is my research topic, China has invested over $1 trillion in Belt and Road Initiative. I think on the one hand, China has made a huge contribution to the development of global south countries, but on the other hand, the relationship is becoming more and more complicated. As you have mentioned, China is a world factory. Chinese manufacturing industry is very strong. This means that China is making a lot of products, and China is very active and aggressive to find customers for its products. Who are the customers? I think the Americans are used to be the biggest customers, but now it seems that the U.S. government is determined to reduce trade deficit toward China, and the market share of Chinese products in the United States will be sharply reduced. This is my expectation. In order to deal with this situation, and the Chinese government and the Chinese manufacturing industries have no choice but to find new customers. EU is an alternative market, and the developing countries as well. So this means Chinese manufacturing industries will face competition from other countries, because other countries like India, like Nigeria, like Southeast Asia countries, they want to develop their own manufacturing industry as well. This means competition against Chinese manufacturing. This means that the relationship between China and the global South countries will be more and more complicated. In the past, China always claims that China is the natural partner of global South countries, but now I think the situation more complex from my perspective.
I think that you can see here a core problem. The other economies also are on a way to develop to the future. For example, if Indian also create an industrial capacity like China, the question is really, okay, who is the customer? Is the customer on this planet, on the Earth, or do we need some customers on the Mars, on the next? I talked about this in the past. So we as Germans, as Germany was the export leader maybe for 10 years in the past, and we are only 80 million people. So, and if I say, okay, then let us level up this to the Chinese side, you are 1.4 billion people, okay. The question is, who is the customer? Every time the same, and also the customer need to have some work to make money. That's also it's not only look for a customer, also look for a customer with money, and money is also to have for work.
Yeah.
So I think this is a structural problem, and this is also one of the reasons because America tried to get back some industrial capacities, so because they can't not only make the money with go to the bank and ask for money, so you have to pay back this.
I think you have talked about the probably most important aspect of the trade war. Who are the customers? And you have also mentioned the structural problem of Chinese economy. I think many economists have emphasized the structural problem of Chinese economy, because in the past Chinese government and the Chinese companies have invested a lot in manufacturing industries, but the domestic consumption is not very good. I mean, the purchasing power of Chinese people are not so strong. Actually, American people have very strong purchasing power. They consume a lot. They buy a lot of goods. The problem is that I think China has produced too much, and the Chinese domestic market is not developed. So Chinese companies must find customers abroad. This is a big challenge for Chinese economy, and they have discussed over and over again, but there is no progress. So from this point of view, I believe the trade war against China is probably not bad, because this is a huge pressure from US side. You have to reduce the trade deficit, and this can put a pressure on Chinese economy. they have to pay more attention to the consumption. Okay, so I think this is external pressure. Probably this can be good for Chinese economy if they can take some measures to improve their situation. This is number one. Number two, you have mentioned India. I think India is a huge country. Now, India is the most populous country in the world, more people than China. Okay, so and India has advantage. The Indian people is younger than Chinese people. India is a relatively young country. Many young people. I have lived in India. I was impressed that this country has so many young and ambitious people. And I think this is a huge advantage of India. But they have quite bad infrastructure. This is a weakness, and the bureaucracy of India is also very, very bad. So I mean, India has both advantage and disadvantage. But now it's a very good opportunity for India. They can be the next China. I think the Indian government is trying to be the next China. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying very hard to improve infrastructure of India, and they are trying to attract foreign investment, and they are making progress. Like Apple, actually now Apple is making the majority of its products in China, but now due to the geopolitical risk, Apple is trying to relocate its manufacturing from China to India. Now, as far as I know, 20% of iPhone are made in India now, and because of the trade conflict between U.S. and China, Apple has decided that the iPhone which are sold in American market will be made in India instead of China. If they can make 20% iPhone, of course they can make 40%, 60%. If China cannot solve the problem, if China cannot deal with the situation skillfully, I think India will benefit from this trade war. Maybe we can also talk about Germany, because you have mentioned Germany is also an exporting giant. How do you think about the impact of the trade war on Germany?
Difficult question. I think we have some economic problems we built by ourselves in Germany. So, and we was the export giant for I think 10 years before China take over this rule. In the past. I don't know, maybe 5 to 6 years ago we was number one. I think the structure of the products is a little bit different to China. So it was industrial investment productions, tool manufacturers. So the market now changed a little bit because we have some AE influence on this kind of products. I think from the mechanical and electrical engineering, the German products is very well. And I saw a lot of Chinese factories, and all the toolings and all the machines inside was from Germany. Yeah, so now China also developed an industry like this and can replace the German products. So for me, I think okay. If you are the world leader in this point, you have to work for this position. Of course, this is a competition, and if someone try to be better, okay, you have also to work. I can't say I was the first player in the last 10 years. I want to be this in the next 100 years. Because I was in the last 10 years, no, not possible. You have to work for the position every time. So, and this will be one of the challenges for the German economy to find this place again. I think what we can't do is to build products in the same kind like China, like a mass production, because we don't have enough people for this. We don't have the human resources, we don't have the space, so all the things, this is not possible. So it's very important for us to develop products with a high quality and maybe the highest quality and the high price. So this is, we can't go the same way like China. Then maybe a last word to this point. In China you have big capacity for factories, but what I see in the past is, okay, I every time have an offer to, okay, I can deliver this kind of product to you, and then I have to, do you understand my market? You understand, do you need to adapt your product to my market? And do you know the product volume in Germany is not so high like in China. So that means if you want to deliver all this kind of products directly to the European market, you need to understand the market better, and you need to adapt your products to the market. And I think this is a big challenge for the Chinese companies. That in fact in the last, this is okay. The theme is a little bit upward now from the last point, but in the past it was the Western companies go to China and say, this is my product, please make the production for me, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, in this quality and this kind of specifica of the products. But now the Chinese companies try to come by themselves without a gatekeeper like this. And so you need to understand the market. I think this is a very important point.
Yeah. In terms of Germany, I do agree with your opinion. I have 2 points. The first point is that the Chinese-German economic relationship is becoming more complicated than previously. In the past, China was a huge market for German companies, but right now, China is still a huge market of German enterprise like Volkswagen, like BMW. China is still a big market, but on the other hand, Chinese companies are becoming more powerful, stronger, and they are also trying to selling Chinese products to German customers. I have worked for one Chinese company. We are in the telecommunication industries. Actually, in the past, we had German competitors like Siemens, right? Siemens has made a telecommunication network equipment, not anymore. They have sold the telecommunication business to Nokia. I mean, this is a typical example that Chinese companies are becoming formidable competitors of German companies. This is the first point. The German-Chinese economic relationship is becoming more complicated. On the other hand, for the U.S.-China trade war, I think German government and the German enterprise have sympathy to American position. They support some demands from American side because they have same concern. For example, the American companies have complained subsidies from Chinese side. Actually, German people support this idea. They have same concern. They have same complaints, and they want to level the playing field. Okay, so they have always emphasized the importance of fair treatment from Chinese side. In some sense, to some extent, they support Trump. They support the trade war against China. But the problem is that Trump has launched a trade war against all the countries, not only China. Probably China is the main target, but EU, including Germany, is also the target of this trade war. Last week, I have participated in one discussion organized by DGAP, Deutsche Gesellschaft für Außenpolitik. And the German scholars have complained that okay, we have same opinion with American people, but your trade policy is against your airline. How can you explain that? So I mean, this is a dilemma to German enterprise and the German politicians. They want to be united with American politicians in the trade war against China. They want to stand together with the U.S., but the Americans treat Germany not as an airline, not as a friend, but as an enemy. So this is the problem.
I mean, I just want to add a little point where you mentioned that the U.S. tariff policy is also against the U.S. ally, like Germany. It just reminds me that in the 1960s, actually was kind of like a small trade war or trade competition between the U.S. and the West Germany. That in the 1960s, that like the German was recovered from the Second World War, and then West Germany exported plenty of the vehicles or cars to the US. The German brand was quite popular in the US, and then the US feel that was quite a hard situation for the US in the car industry. Then the US actually raised the tariff against the German vehicles to the US, and then to defense German's economy, the defense German export, the West Germany actually also raised the tariff against the US chicken, because the US exported plenty of chicken to West Germany. So I think there are some people actually called this a tariff conflict. I call it as the chicken and car war. So I think that I didn't really read this history carefully, but I think there's another YouTuber actually make an explanation about this. So I think sometimes for the US, that is the tariff policy is not only against their rival, but also against their friend. Just a little point. But anyway, I think what I'm thinking is that how will Germany actually rebuild their industry in this the trade war or the geopolitical in times between China and the US? Because now I think that what I heard from other German friends that the EV electronic vehicles industry in Germany was quite backward compared to that developed in China. So will this situation actually be opportunities for Germany to rebuild their EV industry? Because now I heard that Xiaomi was actually build their research and develop center in Germany. I think that is quite a big signal that the Chinese company want to cooperate with a German lab or use the German expertise to develop their own EV. So on the other side, will Germany actually grab these opportunities to develop their own technology or just rebuild their industry? Because like you said, that like a German used to Weibao, like what is the word? Yeah, and then just like Chinese to produce all of the products, the industry products for Germany. So I don't know, is it gonna be an opportunity for Germany?
Interesting point is if you talk about Xiaomi and the popular car, they understand, because this is a private company, and so they will be clever. So they understand, okay, we need to adapt our product to the local market. It's not the same. I think they need to make a specification to the customers in Europe, especially to Germany, and so they used also the the know-how and the expertise from the Germans here. This is, I think, it's a good way to don't need to have a gatekeeper like big companies say order in China and make also the specification for the market understanding. And I know it's very popular to say the German automotive industry goes down now because the Chinese EV factories and producers are so good. But I think these companies have 100 years experience to build cars, and they understand the system very well. And now, and it was a very comfortable situation in the last maybe 50 years to be the competition leader in this area. And now they are a little bit under pressure. I'm sure they can maybe not all, but a lot of German companies will fix these problems. Of course, they will be better then. I'm not worried about this. Because I'm a German engineer.
You are engineer. Okay. Yeah, I want to add one point to the U.S. Policy against the entire world, not only China. People understand that U.S. want to hate Chinese economy because China is the biggest strategic competitor of the U.S. This is understandable, and Trump has always complained that China has too much trade surplus toward the U.S. This is understandable, but people don't understand why the Trump administration is targeting its allies, EU countries, including Germany. Trump has said Germany is worse than China in terms of trade relationship. So people are confused. I'm confused too. Okay, but the officials of Trump administration has explained their policy. Stephen Miran is the chairman of the White House Economic Advisory Council. Okay, he has explained the tariff policy of Trump administration. He said, okay, U.S. is the hegemon of the world, and U.S. has provided some public goods to the world. For example, U.S. donor, China and Brazil, they are two different countries. If they want to have a business trade, they have to use U.S. donor. And the U.S. donor is the public goods provided by the United States to the entire world. But it's very expensive to provide public goods to the world. And in the past, U.S. has spent tremendous cost in maintaining the international order. And now it's time to share the burden. And both airlines and rivals like China have benefited from the world international order. Therefore, all the countries, the entire world must share the burden of the United States. That's why the Trump administration has launched a tariff war against the entire world, both airlines and enemies. So he has made such explanation. I'm not sure if other countries can accept his explanation.
Yeah, you just mentioned the reason why Donald Trump launched the tariff war. So I have a question about the recent news that we know that I think last week China and US launched a negotiation in the Switzerland. And then, if I remember well, the result was that the US decided to stop the tariff policy in 90 days. So, which actually results in the stock markets goes higher. That's like Asian markets were higher, particularly like the Hong Kong's index, like 3% or higher. But of course, the gold price goes down now. So I was wondering, like, why do you think US agrees with this negotiation? Why do they actually launch the negotiation and stop the tariff policy in 19 days currently?
I don't know. I think it's very difficult to understand the logic of Trump administration. I guess that the Trump administration is also facing huge pressure from U.S. Domestic economy. Right now, the situation is quite clear. China is a world factory, and the U.S. is a world market. U.S. is the biggest market of the world because they can print dollar, right? So they can buy everything. Dollar is the world reserve currency. This is the advantage of United States. They can buy everything from the rest of the world by printing dollar. So they have the purchase power, but they have purchased too much, especially from China. If the trade war cannot be stopped, of course, Chinese economy will be hugely impacted, and Chinese people will suffer from this trade conflict. But the American people will suffer from this conflict too, because they are buying a lot of products from China. The tariff 145%, this is too high. This is actually decoupling of the trade relationship. I think the consequence for U.S. economy is also very bad, and the market has made their response, and this has alarmed U.S. decision makers. They have to think about the consequence. They have to make some preparation if they really want to decouple from China. I have read one article from Foreign Affairs, this very famous international relations magazine, and the author is the head of Peterson International Institute. He has argued probably the motivation of Trump administration is understandable, but there is no doubt that U.S. will lose this trade war because they are not prepared for the consequence. If Trump administration can reduce the dependence on Chinese goods before the trade war, probably they can win. But now they are not prepared at all. And if the American people suffer too much from the trade conflict, this will be very negative for Trump's popularity. I mean, the popularity of Trump is already very low. If they cannot win this trade war, I think this will be very bad for the middle term election. Okay, this can be very negative for Trump and Republican. That's why they have launched the negotiation with Chinese counterparts. From my point of view, both China and the U.S. has made some compromise. Both have reduced the tariff. For U.S. now it's 30%. For China now it's 10%. Okay, this is my understanding. But Trump is unpredictable. Now this is just a ceasefire. This is not a final solution. We don't know what will happen after this negotiation because Trump is unpredictable, and both countries have only 90 days. I'm not sure. I'm not confident that they can reach agreement in the short period of only 90 days. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow.
You know, like these politicians, they suggested they make some negotiations. Actually, the policy has great impact in ordinary people's life. So I think we actually had a discussion about this before that, but I still want to ask, like, how do you think if this tariff war will continue after 19 days, how will this situation influence our ordinary people's life? Like, we live in Germany. Will this actually influence the German, the products in Germany, or how will this actually influence the Chinese job market or the jobless rate or blah blah blah? I mean, anyway, like, maybe we can have a discuss on this point. As I think we almost run out of time, so maybe we can make it as the last or the final question to discuss.
I think America, not only Donald Trump, America have some economic problems. They need the dollar as the world money, and they participate from this and make money with this, and not make money. They earn resources from the world, economic resources, but the point is the dollar is so strong, like the U.S. Army. Yeah, so you need to have the U.S. Army to say you want my dollar? No, okay, guys, you have a problem now. So this, sorry for my English. This is a picture to explain this, and America so depends from China. Said also in the weapon industry, they need a lot of products from China resources. So, and this is critical. So the point is they lose the status of the dollar. This is the point. So, and they need to fight against this. So this is the big view. I think Trump addressed some pain points in the American economy, between America and China, and also between America and Europe, especially Germany, because we talk about the difference between China and USA and Germany and USA. We are also enemies. So maybe in China we have an ideology conflict too, but in real it's the economy. So, and we also have America also import more goods from us than in the other direction. So the money flows out from America every time. So, and the Germans and the Chinese looks for the Americans like the same. And what can we have after 90 days? I think Trump addressed this kind of problems, and he wants to reduce the deficit, and maybe it's possible to create some solutions to say, okay, all sides understand we need to reduce the deficit, and maybe we can find a way to develop all the economies in the countries in a more harmonic way. Yeah? So we need to reduce die Spannung. I don't know what is this in English. Sorry. And we need to try to go in a harmonic world. Means reduce the deficit, of course. So the problem is every time the same. We need to find all the economies need to find customers with money. Yeah. And the best way is to develop the economy to level all the economies up.
Okay. From my perspective, the situation is unpredictable. Maybe we can make some analysis. I think there are different scenarios. Maybe the best scenario is that US and China can reach an agreement, so they can make a compromise with China and other countries. This can be best for all the countries, especially for us as ordinary people. But everything is possible, especially given the fact that Trump is unpredictable. So I think the worst scenario will be the decoupling. Between U.S. and China, because if the trade is stopped, you cannot continue the business with 145% tariff, and for China it's 125. This is unthinkable. This means decoupling if they cannot reach agreement. If the business relationship is decoupled, is broken, and then the relationship can be very difficult for both sides. This is the so-called new Cold War, and I mean, new Cold War, the scholars and experts have made a lot of analysis, but I think the impact on ordinary people, I mean, the analysis of the impact on ordinary people is lacking. For me, especially for us as Chinese who live in Germany, this can be very bad. I mean, in the past, we are popular in both China and Western countries. For Chinese people, okay, we have experience with Western countries, with Germany, with US. So we are the talents, okay, and we are popular in China. And for Western countries, okay, we are Chinese, but we can speak English, we can speak German, and we know Chinese culture. So we are also very popular. But now, if the relationship is broken, that means we are no longer popular, and we are hated by both sides. And in China, some people have claimed that the Chinese people who have studied abroad, especially in Western countries, are spies. We are the spies for the Western countries because we have studied in Germany or in the United States. We have accepted a Western ideology. We are not patriots, and probably we are the spy. Okay, so we are no longer popular, and we will be treated as a spy. So this is very bad for us as Chinese. But on the other hand, like Germany, I remember one German politician has said, all the Chinese students in Germany, theoretically, they are the spies because they are not in the position to refuse the demand from Chinese state, Chinese party and government. So we are potentially spies, all of us, everyone. This is also bad. That means we are hated by both sides. Okay, so this can be the consequence of the new Cold War. This is probably the worst scenario. I don't know. I hope this will not happen.
Yeah, I think you actually mentioned like the very direct influence for Chinese living in Germany or Chinese studying in Germany. And yeah, it just reminds me like recently there's an entrepreneur in China actually said in front of media that our company will not hire students studying in West Germany because they are not trustful, something like this. And so what I'm thinking about your opinion is that the tariff wall is actually not the reason for the new Cold War, not the reason for the current situation. It's actually kind of like a result for the long, I mean, like the geopolitical intense tension in the past decade. That was, I think, and then tariff war is just a form of this new Cold War. So I think it was just like in the last the old Cold War that the ordinary people, even though we don't, we are just involved in this Cold War. We didn't make the policy, but we were forced to be involved, and we have to face the tough situation. And I think it's quite sad. So, but I think that's also the reason that we should make the podcast. And then, even though that we are not trusted by the both sides, but we still need to make our own voice, and we trying to make, utilize the social media as a platform to build the connection, to build the conversation between the East and the West, between China, Europe, and potentially US, Global South. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's every time the problem from people to be between different cultures to come in this situation, because you go abroad and you have a lot of new experience, but people in your home country do not have this kind of experience. So, and it's very hard to explain this. So. And for me, sometimes I feel the same. I was a lot of time in China, and so maybe some of my friends also have, okay, can we trust him? He's a half Chinese. Or I try to make a more realistic picture from China than we have currently in the news, in the medias. So, and this is, yeah, it's a difficult situation. So I understand total what you mean. What can we do in this case? We only can try to create relationship, to create a really good understanding for the other side. So and try to explain the own culture in the other culture circle, and try to understand. So this is the point, and make the people curious to talk together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you both. I think we are witnessing a historical change right now. We are witnessing the history, but what can we do? We are ordinary people. We are small people. I don't think we can do a lot too much. I think as politicians make decisions, of course, there will be consequence of their decisions. Consequence for important person as well as ordinary people like us. What can we do as ordinary people? Nothing. But we can understand the situation. We can adapt to the situation, and if we have right understanding about the historical trend, probably we can make a right decision about our own individual lives. Okay, so for me, I think probably this is the meaning of this discussion. We cannot change the history, okay? We cannot change the mindsets of the decision makers, but we can understand. So if we can understand the situation well, then probably we can make a right decision for ourselves. This is the meaning of this discussion from my point of view.
I like your word that we cannot make decision, but we should understand our situation. So I just reminds me that there's a saying that in Chinese, like 太阳底下没有新鲜事. There's no fresh things under the sun. So, but we can still trying to read history and trying to understand our situation. I don't know what we can do now or in the future, but what I'm thinking is just we have to always think about our situation. I think that is the meaning of that we want to organize the discussion, and we want to post our podcast that like more people engage in the discussion. I wouldn't say that our podcast is trying to make some influence or some change for people, but maybe we can try to exchange our opinion, and we trying to make ourselves and then or maybe other people to better understand the situation.
Good.
Vielen Dank.